Hello, everybody. Please, with a raise of hand, who here knows what a microinteraction is? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, we got 3 people. Okay, so guess what? In this lightning talk, we'll get to discover what is a microinteraction and why should we care. The goal of this lightning talk is for all of you, the front-end developers, full-stack developers, anyone who touches the client side, to have like a certain general knowledge of what is a microinteraction and what is the importance of having these kind of creatures in your client-side applications, and also how you can, after you understand what they are, you could, of course. It will be easier for you to consider and to see how you can benefit by introducing these microinteractions into your applications, how you can create an amazing user experience in your products. Okay, so let's begin. Microinteractions, little things that matter. My name is Yonatan Doron. I'm a lead web developer. Also a community leader at Hodash Dev, which is a developer community of over 300 developers in Hod HaSharon area, city and area, with active monthly meetups, workshops, hackathons. You are welcome to search us up either in Facebook or in Meetup. Also, this is my Twitter, which you can reach me out, ask any questions, whatever you feel like. So let's begin. The thinnest explanation of what a microinteraction is, it's a single-use, subtle visual cue that draws the attention of the user to a change in a status. Sounds a bit tricky, but we'll get to understand it better. So it begins from our physical lives. Exactly, right? You see, you got this teapot in your house, and when you want to heat up the water, you have like this unwritten contract with the teapot. You just press the button, and then this blue light turns on to give you an indication that the teapot has changed its status and now is heating your water. We also have, this is of course a microinteraction from our physical world. This is an example for a very plain microinteraction from the digital world. It's just a plain card or button that when you hover it, it's like a very smooth transition of opacity and a bit like fixing the angle via a transform and rotation. Something a bit, at least for me, it looks like something like elegant and moving, makes it more unique, this moment of hovering. Let's see a few examples from the wild. So you have this splash screen loader or spinner. You can use it for a splash screen. You can use it for to let the user experience some kind of moment during the time that he might be needed to wait, or sometimes even be frustrated from waiting. This is like, yes, maybe this is a bit complex example, but you get the general idea. All these spinners, we are used to looking at them, and we tend to just wait and be calm. Another microinteraction is this, it's from Facebook mobile application. It's a microinteraction of, like, as you see, it's like a three sparkling morphing shapes that if you zoom out a bit, it looks like it's a shiny new icon, shiny new action in the taskbar. Whether it was a feature that was deep down in the product and you couldn't reach it, or it's something that Facebook wants you to now, or any other company wants you to now know that this feature is now available, or you should now use it, or maybe you used to use it and now we put it in the taskbar for your convenience. So it's a way of indicating that something fresh, something new is up there, just with these visualizations, with this microinteraction. Another quick example is the mute unmute. Anyone who ever built or played with some kind of audio player, you know these conventions. And what I did here, I just decided to, when the sound waves, they enter the state of the active music, They have like this a bit, they stretch out a bit to make it a bit more alive. And they also fall, they get narrower when they get back. And the X that marks that we are now in mute mode is like transitions from within the microphone outside in like a very purposeful and clear-cut way to show that we are now changing the status from playing to muted and vice versa. So this is a lightning talk, and I really couldn't give you the whole Torah on one foot. So I composed a recipe of 3 components that I managed to select that I believe could help you when you come to design or implement microinteractions in your product. The first and most important maybe is the feedback. Feedback is in terms of feedback from your system, from your interface, though to a trigger. So the user does some kind of trigger, clicks, he hovers, he scrolls, and then the system gives the user some kind of feedback, some kind of indication that their action has any meaning, and now the system interacts with the user. The next thing is purposeful transitions, like we saw in the mute-unmute example. You have another example that I think most front-end developers seen somewhere. It's like the mobile hamburger icon that indicates that we have a menu. And when you open the menu, at a lot of products, the icon transitions very like purposefully, as we see, and very accurately to indicate the change of the state of this dropdown. So this is one very important aspect of the microinteraction. And the third thing is to provide a personal or maybe emotional experience. This is the place for brands and for developers to give personality or brand identity into the microinteraction. I will show you some examples up ahead. So, which company does this microinteraction resembles, or which company is this? You can scream it. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, this is Twitter. This is the Twitter heart. It's an infamous microinteraction. And now we're going to see another one. Which company is this? And again, you can scream. Medium. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you see how you instantly recognize it, although it's just visual, no text, no anything. Nobody needs to explain, no audio. Yeah. And this one, which company is this? Facebook, right? Everybody knows it. Cross country, cross culture, no language barriers, visual cues that everybody understands and know that this is Facebook, this is Medium, this is Twitter, and there are of course other examples. These unique microinteractions are what are called in the literature signature moments or key moments. It's a special time, a special moment when a microinteraction you designed or built becomes elevated to like a much higher level of UI element or interaction with the user. It becomes a signature moment. As you all saw and participated in this drill, you saw how instantly recognizable they were. Further, signature moments are a natural part of the interface, which means it's an action that the user does on a daily basis. It's part of the product, like Facebook, like Twitter. It's something that any user in this platform does a few times a day, if not tens or hundreds times a day. And of course, as I mentioned before, it's an opportunity for the company to introduce their international brand. And what makes it international, as we discussed a bit earlier, is the fact that it's recognizable without any barriers of language, culture, whatever. Okay, so Johnny, help me. How do I even start? So can you please, you write with my phone? Yeah, write a bit. So yeah, now Moshe is writing, and you see that he's typing. Okay. Not really. It looks like it, and yeah, and maybe I managed to catch a bit of your attention, and you stared at it at this little micro interaction here, and thought that Moshe is actually typing. That is the whole idea behind this micro interaction. Now we're going to see a bit of code. We're going to see how simple it is to create micro interactions, and I took this basic example of something we all know from Facebook conversations, right? When somebody is writing or answering us, we become a bit tensed or excited, and we stare at this very plain three gray divs and wait for them to stop moving and disappear, so we'll get our much desired answer. So I took the courtesy to build this in a VueJS template, really to show you that it's very, very simple to make micro interactions, not only in Vue, but in Vue it's especially simple. So for those of you who are not familiar with about Vue, this is the component that the only component that I have, a single file component.vue that is rendered in the application. It's composed of three tags: the template tag, the Mac, and I'm a PC guy, so might be some bad things here. Script tag for your logic. The template, of course, is for your HTML. Script tag for logic, and style for all your CSS or Sass, which you can also, of course, write this attribute scoped, and you get style scoping out of the box. Amazing. Okay, so what do we have here? What's this micro interaction? What a big word, micro interaction. Okay, so all that there is here is this like round avatar of my image with 50% border radius. It's in the styling. Next to it, there is another div that's a bit stretched and also with the border radius. And inside it, perfectly positioned horizontally and vertically, you have three dots, as you can see here, rendered three divs that are rendered with the v-for, which is exactly like a for loop or for directive in Angular, for those of you who know. And I dynamically give it a unique class, so I could control by the indexes, so I can control each dot separately, and also a key, which is also a best practice in Vue and important for Vue's change detection to be performant. I wouldn't get to it too much in this talk since it's a lightning talk, but check it out. So what I have in my logic, just a property named dots with an array of three objects, which also could be anything. It could be a string, doesn't really matter in this example. And I rendered them in the for loop that I showed you earlier. And all the magic that you see is right here in these lines 33 to 46 with the keyframes animation bouncy. And really all it does is transform those round divs 10 pixels up and down in a loop. And this simple thing is what makes us, you know, just stare at it and wait, anticipating, and not be frustrated during the wait. So that's pretty much the code example. It's a lightning talk, I know, I'm sorry. And since it's a lightning talk, I try to think what would be the one thing I would like you guys to take home with you, one key takeaway, and I really narrowed it down to what you see here. I also made some kind of micro interaction that shows this sentence. But what I want you to take is that micro interactions can really be the difference between an okay product or a tolerable product and ones we really fall in love with and have an ongoing relationship with, like Facebook and other examples you've seen. That's about it. I thank you. And guess what? The Facebook reactions is also a group of micro interactions. As you can see here, I will not go in details. It's a very unique thing. They are called reactions. I can talk about it for hours later if anybody wants. The details are not the details, they make the design. I want you to also remember this when you build products. It was a quote by Charles Eames, who is one of the fathers of design in general, and also specifically in design, architecture design. I really agree with this sentence. Every day that I work, and I really try to pay attention to the details and make them count. And I think this is also something you can take with you. If there are any questions, I would love to take them. And if you want to contact me with any questions or suggestions, this is my email, my Twitter. And since it's a lightning talk and I couldn't finish everything that I wanted to give you, I wrote an article in Medium that 10 microinteractions commandments or tips. It's available via this bit.ly or via my Medium account at Yonatan Doron. It's like, as I said, it's the 10 commandments of how or what to pay attention to when you come to design or implement microinteractions. That's about it.
Thank you very much, Yonatan, for such a lovely talk. It's very nice. I never know about micro interaction. I actually mistook it with micro front ends, but it's different. Now we have 5 minutes for question and answer. If you guys have any question, please raise your hands. Yes. Have a microphone over there on the. And just for anyone that came late and couldn't grab a bite of pizza, we have more pizza coming in, about 3. So I hope so please bear with us. We have more food. The drink is still there.
Hi, so this is a very newbie question. How did you make the delay between the 3 dots?
Delay. Yes. So basically, let's go to the example and see it. It will be best. So you see this this animation is called bouncy, and the time I use it right here. And there is actually for a specific question, there are several ways to give delay to animations in CSS. The way I use is just via the delay property in the animation property, the delay value, as you see here. First one is triggered without any delay, second with the 200 milliseconds, 400 milliseconds. And of course they are looping, so the delay sequence is maintained through the looping.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm interested in your distinguishing, yes, between the role of the front-end developer and the UX designer, which comes first in this case? Who initiates those microservices? Microinteractions,
yeah.
Sorry.
So, as I see it, like I'll explain briefly about what I think about it, and I can also take it on later and talk further. But I see a trend all over the world that front-end developers become more aware and also become have more a greater sense of ownership for the UX, and they want to understand UX and be involved in the UX process more. And I also see a parallel trend among UX designers wanting to enter the code more. They begin with CSS HTML, but I think it's a matter of time and a matter of time until they also want to approach the JavaScript and learn code better. And I wouldn't say there's going to be a consolidation of these two entities, but since these two entities approach each other and try to understand the other side's work as a general trend, I think it's important for both of us to understand the sides. And this talk was given to an audience of front-end developers, but I think it could also be good for designers. And what I wanted to show is that it's really simple to build them. I wanted to show also that what are they composed of. And I think that even though the UX design currently, like in today's world, UX designers would be the ones maybe in charge of designing the microinteractions. The front-end developer could also make sure the implementation would be more appealing and greater. And also one more thing to consider is in startups, in small companies, you don't often have, at least in Israel from what I saw during my time so far, you don't always have a UX designer in-house. It's usually outsourced. It's usually somebody that comes for a limited time. And if you're a front-end developer, like if you're a CEO of a company and your front-end developer has a bit of orientation and aesthetics touch to UX, many times they are involved. And that's from what I experienced personally. I was involved in product design, in wireframing, and eventually also in implementation. So that's about it.
Thanks.
So, while I question you, I will switch the slide. So, do you know of any tools maybe that might help me as a junior developer, that might help me like build the animations and prepare them for coding?
Yes, this is a great question, Dima. Thank you for it. There are many tools that can help during the design process and also during the implementation. There are many, if we have in the coding world, we have playgrounds to test various technologies. You have also a lot of playgrounds to test certain motion and animation characteristics, which are implemented via CSS, can be CSS properties, SVG. So you got playgrounds for SVG, playgrounds for CSS transform, clip path, and all kind of other things. I have a list in my Notion. If anybody wants, I can share personally specific tools, no problem.
Okay. One question, last one. There you go.
So my question is, you spoke about it and you said how great it is and how good it is. My question is look at the bad side of it. Like, for example, whenever there's that interaction with the user, for me at least, in some websites, it's just annoying sometimes, you know? There's that micro interaction, you see it over your mouse. It can be in all sort of ways. My question is how really right that thing is, how really popular and how really it's gonna be working now in 2019, or how really users are interacting with it and how right it is. That's just the main question. It's like, sometimes it's just annoying for the user, in my opinion.
Got it, okay. That's, first of all, what you're feeling is perfectly right, and it happens, and it happens a lot. The answer for why this happens is that many times microinteractions are poorly designed. This is the reason. There is a certain tendency for people who design microinteractions to try make them have exaggerated or unique wow effect when it's actually unnecessary. So I show you in this talk a variety from basic and plain and simple microinteractions we see on a daily basis, like someone's typing, which I'm really used to it. You don't even think about it if somebody doesn't tell you about it. Or for example, the transition between a hamburger and the X icon. It's very purposeful. It's very efficient, quick, shows the transition between states. Not too cocky, not too sophisticated. So you got simple, you got more complex. Nowadays, it's more the UX designer's role or the micro-interaction designer's role to do it like bimsura, we say in Hebrew, like with good taste, yeah, not too much when it's not needed.
The thing is that you don't know when it's too much or when it's too less, or in my opinion, it's like, if
from
you
the
want to
designer, from the designer or the developer's point of view?
both. You cannot know if you want to try something
Okay,
new.
that's a different subject, and it's also a bit true. The one good way to do it, and it's true, you can never know 100%, but you can develop a certain sense of good taste during time and experience. And also, if you keep doing A/B testing and listen to your users and get feedback from them during versions, you can understand what is more obtruse, more good or more or annoying. And
Yeah.
consider that feedback. There is no perfect recipe for microinteractions.
Okay, I'm sorry, but if you have more, I'm sorry, because we're running out of time. So if you have more questions, please talk to, you're very, very welcome to talk to Yonatan just now, because we need to get to the next speaker and stick to our schedule today. Sorry. And thank you, Jonathan. And please welcome Yaron Bitton, our next speaker, which is a coding academy chef instructor. And I think most people here are related to him somehow.
And this one.
Oh, and one thing that no one knows or no one knows, or maybe his wife knows, I don't know. Why I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. He's the master on Clash Royale. Is it a game? Yeah. Okay, so anyone want to play with him, please download Clash Royale and welcome Yaron Bitton.